Leftovers part 2 time. Cornbread dressing. Oh, I am ready.
Hey everyone, so we're back with our leftover part 2. And so with that cornbread that we made in our last video, and I will put a copy to that link of my last video in the description box below, we made our cornbread. So you see now I've got the cornbread here. It is the leftover. Basically what you do with any leftover cornbread, I put it in a Ziploc bag, stick it in the fridge, and pull it out to make the cornbread. So we've got our cornbread here. It's all nice and just broke up. So what we're gonna do first is we are going to just crumble our cornbread. It doesn't have to be real fine, just crumble it. Okay, now that our cornbread's all crumbled up, let me rinse my hands off. And out of that pan of cornbread, I had about 3/4 of that iron skillet full or leftover cornbread that we didn't eat. So see, we've got it all crumbled up in there. And everything that I do with this cornbread dressing, everything in this will be cooked. Okay, so we're not gonna put raw eggs in this dressing like a lot of Southern cooks do, because I want to be able to taste my dressing and make sure that I have enough sage and poultry seasoning, and all my seasonings are good with this. So we are going to, first, I'm gonna put 3 hard-boiled eggs. Okay, we're gonna just, I had boiled these earlier, so I've got the 3 hard-boiled eggs in there. And then I have my celery and onion. And I chopped up 1 cup of onion, 1 cup of celery, and then I gave that just a real light saute in my skillet with 1 teaspoon of butter. Okay, so we have lightly sauteed our 1 cup of onion and 1 cup of celery in our butter. And after you saute it, just put it in a bowl, and you can save all of the juices from the butter in there. Okay, so now we're going to, I'm gonna put just a little bit, just a little dash of kosher salt. A little bit of fresh cracked pepper, and you can do this to your taste. Okay. Now, I have, this is 2 cups of chicken broth. That is just the regular chicken broth that you buy at the store. The chicken I made for this today are chicken breasts, so I didn't have to boil them, I pan-seared them. So I'm just using just regular chicken broth from a carton. So I've got 2 cups here. We're gonna start with 1 cup of chicken broth and just give this a quick stir. We will need both, we'll need that 2nd cup as well, but I like to go ahead and get it started. Okay, now comes the sage part of this. And that's one of the reasons I have this dressing. Everything in this dressing is already cooked, because I can go in and I can taste test and see how much sage that I do need. And if it's, you want it not really like super soupy, but you do want quite a bit of liquid. I might have to go in and add a little bit more broth, but we'll see. Okay, now for my sage, I'm gonna start out with a couple of tablespoons. Oh, I'm so afraid that was gonna happen. This is a heaping tablespoon, so let's stop at that. I'm gonna stir it around. Okay, and let me test it and see. And here is the key to it. You need to add your sage. When you go to take a bite, if you immediately taste the sage, you need to stop. That's all the sage you need. If you have to sort of search your taste buds to find that sage taste, then you'll probably need to add a little bit more. And I would go like a half a tablespoon at a time after this. So. Okay, I can barely taste it. So let's do this. I am going to go with just a teaspoon more, okay? So we had a pretty heaping tablespoon of sage. Well, there we go. I'm gonna add a teaspoon this time. And I do believe that's gonna be enough, but we'll taste it and see. Yep, that's gonna be enough. So we did 1 full tablespoon of sage and then a teaspoon of it. And I will put that in my notes below. And I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. Or actually a half a teaspoon of poultry seasoning, I'm sorry. And I'm going to put in probably another, I'm gonna pour up another cup of my chicken broth. And because it needs to be just a little bit more. Like I said, you don't want it super soupy, but you do want a little bit more liquid, and I'll show you once I add some more. Okay, you do want it because you don't want this to be dry. So let's grab. Like I said, I'm just using this right here. I do keep this if I don't make my own broth or stock. So let's do this. Let's go with a half. And let's see what we have here. Okay, I think that half's gonna be enough, actually. Yeah, the whole other cup would be too much. Okay, so see now, see down here? You see, that's about how you want it. You don't wanna be able to pull your spatula through your bowl and see the bottom. See, so this means we're gonna have some good moist dressing. Okay, so let me get this cleared, and I'm gonna get my pan over here, and I will talk to you about putting it in the pan and topping it with your chicken. Okay, so we have our dressing here. It's mixed up. It's ready to put into our little casserole dish. I am going to just make Danny and I tonight for supper just this small little dish with our dressing and our chicken on top. I will have leftover dressing, and you can put it either in a Ziploc bag, put it in your freezer, or if you have like an aluminum pan or a pan that you don't mind putting in your freezer, you can put the leftover. If you make a smaller batch, like I'm gonna do tonight, I'll have another small batch. So I'm going to put that in an aluminum pan, cover it with foil, put it in my freezer, and then when I'm ready for another batch of cornbread dressing, then I can just pull it out and bake it. So what we're gonna do, I've got this small little dish, and I have a mixture actually. I have some Irish butter, and then I have just some regular unsalted butter. And I just roll that around there and grease my dish. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my dressing in here. Let's just take it up here. What a really good way to sit and use your leftover cornbread, because that's one of those sides like I was talking about that, like potatoes for us, reheating potatoes in its regular form or reheating cornbread, it's just not nearly as good. So you can turn these into totally different recipes. Okay, so I've got that in there. That looks good. Now, I just pan-seared 2 chicken breasts. You can boil chicken, you know, pick it off the bone, chicken thighs, whatever, but I did have 2 chicken breasts that I just pan-seared and seasoned it with salt and pepper only. Put a little olive oil in my skillet and seared it up. Didn't take no time. And I'm just gonna put these 2 chicken breasts over that. There you go. And I always like to go ahead and just sprinkle a little bit of dried parsley for color. Okay. And there you have it. You've got a nice little pan of chicken and dressing for 2. Now, I'm going to cover it in foil. And this is important because you don't want to dry out your chicken that's already cooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my foil, I'm going to cover this little pan, I'm going to put this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees, and I'm going to cook this with the foil on for about 25 minutes, okay? With the foil on, and then you can go back in, take the foil off, and let it cook for about another 7 to 10 minutes longer. And that sort of, you know, I guess roast the chicken, you know, makes it just a little bit, you want the foil to stay on to keep your chicken and your cornbread as moist as possible. But for about the last 7 minutes, it just gives it a good finishing touch to the chicken. And so I'm gonna put this in the oven and let that cook, and then we will be back and I'll let Danny taste test it. Ho, 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 look there. We have our chicken and dressing fresh out of the oven. And I'm going to go ahead and plate it up for dinner. And so tonight I'm serving the chicken and dressing with some fresh buttered corn, a fresh cucumber and tomato salad, and my fresh homemade rolls, which we will be doing next week together. So look out for that, and I've got something extra that we can do with these rolls after we bake them. So let's get out here, and I'm going to, because I know Danny is hungry, I'm gonna go ahead and get his plate ready and let him taste test the chicken and dressing.
That looks good.
Does that look good?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like Thanksgiving in April. Okay, let me get you a fork, Danny, and we'll let you taste test it, okay? Okay. Danny, are you ready to test my chicken and dressing?
I'm ready.
With
I'm
the,
always ready.
With the leftover cornbread that we made,
Oh,
all right?
Look good. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Take a little chicken. Let me do this. A little bit of this, and then the chicken. Oh, don't that look good? I feel like it's Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. So
That's how good it is.
What about the sage? Good?
Oh,
Good
yeah,
flavor?
it's perfect.
Is
it's
it
perfect.
moist enough? Not too super dry or anything?
It's perfect.
Good. All right.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Okay. So this is our second part that's ending of our leftovers. And we had our cornbread. So at first we did our potato cakes with our leftover mashed potatoes. We made our cornbread, and now we turned our cornbread into a totally different dish. So if you like this video and would like to see more of my videos, hit the like button and go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And because I would appreciate it. And next week, we are going to do my homemade yeast rolls.
And they are delicious.
They are. And then I'm going to do a little dish that you can use your leftover homemade yeast rolls, either fresh or leftover. So until next time, my friends, be safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.